All right. So hear me out.
Okay.
Okay. So the word gnocchi.
Yeah.
Right? Starts with a G.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It would still be gnocchi if it didn't have the G on it. Right?
N-O-C. Yeah.
Right? But now take the word Pinocchio,
Yeah.
which contains the word gnocchi without any G's.
Oh my God,
not
right.
one G.
What's up with that?
I don't think the G's are necessary.
You're silent. There's a whole bunch of other words like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like bologna, champagne, lasagna.
Yeah.
Enough?
Welcome to the Elusive History Podcast.
You found us.
We are a hard-to-find history podcast. Harder to find, in fact, than that chapstick you just bought. I'm your host, tornado violence survivor and traditional archer, Levi Van Scoik.
And I'm your other host, amateur herbaria collector and Amish drag racer, Lyndsay Burnett. At the top of the show, right now, in fact, is where we like to hand out a little existential warning. Listen, some of this stuff isn't super good for your mental health, so if you need to take a break and go touch grass, listen, we get it. Some of the stuff can be pretty rough.
Yeah, speaking of pretty rough, I'm just sick and tired of living through all this history, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's getting to be really heavy.
Yeah, especially for a history podcast, because, like, we see what the history of what our past has looked like, and all of this stuff is not even remotely new. It's just...
The patterns are overlaying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's getting difficult. We want to bring you guys fun, informative and fun information.
Edutainment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know I keep saying fun because this is heavy shit we cover, but we try not to let it get to you.
Even when we covered poop, that was a big one.
Yeah, it was a big heavy shit. Yeah.
It's a share the load kind of situation.
But yeah, it is getting kind of difficult.
But for real, cut out the share the load thing. That was terrible. Yeah. It is getting difficult. Yeah, you have to stay positive or else you threaten to fall down that horrible Charybdis of depression and existential dread. That's why we have that existential warning.
Exactly. And trust us, we will be going outside and touching grass when all of this is over because, it's healthy.
It is. It really is. Just this week was May the 4th.
Yes.
Yeah, so happy May the 4th for all those that celebrate.
May the 4th be with you.
Well, it's our anniversary.
Also that.
Which is probably the coolest anniversary of all time.
We will never forget it, that's for certain.
Ever. On May the 3rd, we went in and got my lightsaber maintenanced. It was
Maintenanced, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That was a fun little side trip. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what else is a fun little side trip.
What?
Ever since we crawled out of caves and stopped wiping feces on ourselves, we have been looking for a way to understand and control the weather.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ancients would do just about anything for that power, including ritual human sacrifice.
Oh, gosh.
Now, I'm not just talking about the Inca or the Maya. For a second, let's talk about the bog men and the bog women.
Oh, back in Scotland or Ireland?
Aye. In ancient Celtic cultures, they would sacrifice people to the bog in the hopes of having a good harvest.
Right.
Which mostly depended on rainfall.
That makes sense.
Now, they had two ways of going about this. For the first is the willing. The village elders would make this big old bag of potato chips.
Okay.
Like, seriously, like a huge bag of potato chips. And in that giant bag of chips, they would make sure that there was at least one either horribly burnt chip or one that was green.
Oh, like a short straw system, but for the whole town.
Exactly that.
Oh, wow.
And then they would ask the whole village to draw out a chip. The unlucky who pulled the chip was then drugged, stabbed, and then thrown into the bog. Most of the time, these people would already be dead before tossing them in.
Because of the drugging. Okay.
Right, and the stabbing.
I mean, okay. Jeez.
Now, the second way is way more violent and dark.
Oh, it's more violent than stabbing.
Yes.
Okay. No drugging?
No. If the village had a person they considered a criminal, they wouldn't even go through the motions of making chips.
Oh, okay.
They would just stab them in both legs and then throw them into the bog.
So they still got stabbed. Okay. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
All right. So they weren't even dead necessarily.
No, they slowly drown with the
my
bog.
God.
Yeah, actually, they suffocated, which is why we know about them, because they're incredibly preserved.
Bogman, I've seen, yeah.
And bog women, bog people.
Just a little bit aside about the bogs. I don't know if you put this in there because it's probably not worth it. But one of the things I know about bogs is they're finding things like bog butter, where people 200 years ago used the bog to keep their butter cool and then forgot where it was. So they find it in these like clay jars that are still preserved. You don't want to eat it, but
I'll do you one even darker if you want to just do like, you know, a bog pissing contest.
Well, I mean, we're not measuring, but okay, let's see it.
If you enjoy scotch, what they do is they go out and they cut the peat bog, and that's how they find the bodies most of the time, is when they're cutting the peat so what they do is they smoke the peat. They set the peat on fire, and that's how they smoke the barrels to give the scotch the tang that it gets.
You know, I always knew that peat was smoked. I just never put it together that there's an extra step to the process. Oh, wow, that's...
And if it wasn't for people distilling and making scotch, we would never have found the bogmen.
Mind-blowing!
Yeah, it's like a chicken or the egg situation.
Morbid and really cool all at the same time.
We should clink glasses right now. Do you have that effect?
No.
Can you make...
No.
Oh, here we go. No, that didn't work. Okay. Now, for the first kind of sacrifices, they would wrap the person lovingly in skins and blankets.
Okay.
For the criminals, they made no such effort to comfort.
They just kicked him into the bog and that was it?
Yeah, and most of the time they went out screaming.
Okay. Gruesome.
Yeah. The point of all of this was to ensure that the village had enough to eat. They believed that there was no greater sacrifice than becoming a bog person.
Okay.
That includes the criminals as well. It was seen as a way of getting some of your honor back.
So kind of like a pay of penance to get into heaven kind of sort of thing?
I was going to say more like the ritual suicide that the samurais go through.
Oh, wow.
Samurai. I am so sorry I pluralized the wrong plurality of samurai.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Thank you for catching that.
Yeah.
But no, that's definitely a little bit more honorable.
Yeah, that's how it was seen. Like if you, like, I don't know, like say you murdered your entire family, then they would say, hey, do you want to make up for that in some way? And that was a way of making up for like a social loss.
Like an atonement kind
Exactly.
of. Okay, that makes sense.
Now, it's not just the Celts that did all this.
Okay.
Romans would sacrifice both animals and slaves in hopes that the heavens would open.
I knew that. Yeah.
Most of the time, they would burn the bodies because they believed that the smoke that rose to the heavens was what the gods required for the transaction.
It was a little bit more than the Romans, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to...
No, I got you. No, I'm just thinking about, like, the Romans. They sacrificed everything under the sun. But one of the big ones was to Saturn, I believe it was. And the bulls.
Yeah.
That was like one of the biggest sacrifices you could do.
Yeah, but that was for Saturn. That would be for Saturnalia. Uranus is who they would sacrifice bulls to if they wanted it to rain. Yeah.
Okay, I know there's some sort of
pee-pee joke.
That's not rain.
Well,
it's the god Uranus.
Well, see, that's the good thing about Uranus is it's both a pee-pee and a poo-poo joke. It all in one. It's like
that's funny. I don't care who you are right there.
It's like it's two things that are one, like the double mint gum combos. They're both pretzel and cheese. But anyway, yeah. So if you're trying to make a poop joke, you have to say Uranus. But if you want to make a pee joke, you have to say Uranus. Uranus.
Gotcha.
Got it. Now that that's clarified. Now, aside from all those kinds of making weather, there's also another kind.
What's that?
The rainmaker.
The rainmaker?
Rainmakers go all the way back to prehistoric India and some parts of Africa.
Are you talking about those sticks that are hollowed out that you turn them upside down and they got beans in them and it makes it sound like rain?
No, that's a rain stick.
Oh.
A rainmaker is like this almost shamanistic type character that would go from village to village, bringing the rain wherever his skills were needed. Like, he would entreat the skies to fall, most of the time using either interpretive dance, smoke, or sacrifice to make that happen.
That sounds like a cool job.
Right. Now, Native Americans also have a version of this called the rain dance.
Okay, I've seen that.
Where the whole tribe, or sometimes just the braves, would ask the heavens to open up through interpretive dance. What I'm trying to get at is every single culture from every single corner of our globe, this is a thing that humans have and still believe in. The Romans even had this neat little black rock called the dripping stone.
Really?
They used it in a ceremony where they put beer in a pot in the ground, They did this in hopes that the desert god known as Guagua would bring rains to help them win a war against their enemies.
Was it a special rock? Just
Yes.
one rock? Or everybody had one?
No, it was a special rock. Like
Okay.
they found it in North Africa.
Okay.
Like where the tribes people the nomads had been using it for assumed thousands of years.
And that's why the god Guagua was
thing.
attributed to it, because
Right.
it's from Africa. I was going to say, that doesn't sound like a Latin name.
Right. Well, Guagua actually means water.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, well, so they actually stole it from the nomadic people of the area.
Okay.
And then I'm about to describe how they turned around and used it as a weapon. So,
They didn't beat him with it.
I mean, they didn't know how to turn it on. Like, there's no on switch.
Okay.
Well, actually, so Geta, go Geta.
I don't know.
His name is Geta. I think it's Geta.
Okay.
So Geta asks his personal this slave that he had from the slave was very young. He was like, "Well, you're from here. How does this work?" And he basically walked him through the whole ceremony. So
Really?
Yeah. So what they would do is you had to put a pot of beer in the ground.
Okay.
And beer is, I don't know if everybody knows this, has been around for a very long time.
Yeah.
They didn't actually have any beer, but they had these German mercenaries that they had brought to fight in North Africa, and they all had beer.
Okay.
And they were like, yeah, because we don't trust water. So they're like, well, we need to make water, so give us your beer. So they took all these German guys' beer and they put it in a pot in the ground and then gave them water and distributed all the water. Now, there's a ceremony where you're supposed to dump the water out on the ground while dancing, while trying to get Guagua to remember how to make it rain.
Okay.
Well, in this case, it actually fucking worked.
Oh, shit. Okay.
It actually worked. He called down the rains, and it was so dramatic that the other team, the other side, the enemy,
Yeah.
decided they'd go ahead and sue for peace. They were like, enough. You have Guagua's favor. We're not dying of thirst.
White flag.
Done. No.
You have the gods. We're out.
We're out.
Okay. That's impressive.
Yeah.
And this was before lawyers, so I mean.
Yeah. They were like, look, imagine you're, I don't know, pick a religion. I'm going to use Buddhism here.
Okay.
Not that Buddhists would be in a whole bunch of fighting. No, that's a bad one. Cut all of that out. Imagine for a minute that you're, I don't know, fighting Muslims or whatever.
Okay.
Right? And you're a Christian, and all of a sudden one of the guys rises up from the other side is, oh shit, that's Jesus. Like, oh God, we're fighting Jesus? We can't fight Jesus.
Right.
We got to join that side. I'm trying to say, not only is it psychological warfare.
Trying to find some parallel that would work with today.
It's almost impossible.
It is impossible,
for the Romans to utilize the desert nomads' water god to win.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and now here's the thing. The point is, not only have we always sought to control the weather, but also, sometimes for whatever reason it seems, nature gives a select few the power over the very skies themselves. Mm-hmm. Or so it would seem. In the story of the dripping rock, they go on to say that it didn't always work, and that they assume that someone must have messed up a step in the ceremony.
Okay.
Rainmakers, it seems, are only judged on the times that they've been successful, and definitely for not all of the times that they failed.
You know, it's very interesting that you say this, because you mentioned the Native American rainmakers. Mm-hmm. I heard a story very recently of a Native American who went to do a prayer for rain with I believe it was a journalist. And the journalist was on the ride, yeah, this is great. They went out to this circle, and the guy prayed, went inside the circle, prayed for 5 minutes, and then got up and says, hey, come on, let's go eat. And the journalist was like, aren't you going to do a dance or something? And the guy just smiled. He goes, no, I did what I got to do. And on the way back, it started pouring rain. And it was like you were saying, just a torrent. And the journalist was like, yo, dude, can you, I mean, I'm paraphrasing here.
Obviously, by the yo, dude.
Can you, tell the up high to stop, please? This is a lot. We're going to get washed out. And the Native American just laughed, and he's like, the Native American said, no, they heard us. They've given us what we've asked for. There is no off. So,
You get what you get.
You get what you get.
They heard us. That
exactly. What more do you want?
Well, to go back to the script, what's funny about all of this is that some of the times they would actually get it to rain. that also coincided perfectly with the established weather patterns.
Of course.
But we will get to that later.
Okay.
All throughout history, it was noticed that rains would follow a great battle or a big fire. So for a special time in history, people shot gunpowder into the sky to make it rain.
That's not a horrific thought at all.
Right. One guy even pitched the idea of setting the whole Appalachian mountain chain on fire for it to rain on the farms in colonial Virginia.
That is a salted earth way of asking for rain to come if I ever heard of it.
I've never heard anything more colonizer than
Burn the whole place down and maybe it'll rain.
Maybe it'll rain where we want it to rain.
Oh my heavens.
What's funny about the shooting gunpowder into the sky thing is that it seems to work sometimes. Like this one time in Texas, they did that.
They did that?
Yeah.
Why am I not surprised?
But they also put like balloons up with dynamite tied to it, as well as kites, as cannons. They stuck explosives down in prairie dog holes, badger holes, and like
all at once.
All
Did
at
they
once.
explode all at once?
Yes, and it rained so fast that they didn't even get a chance to put rain gauges out to like see how much rain fell. They assume about an inch fell.
You just hit me with a 1-2 punch right there.
Yeah.
Like my brain was like. First off, trying to wrap around why they would put it dynamite and balloons and prairie holes and kites. And did they not know how much to do it? So they're like, let's just blow the whole sky up.
Listen here now. I know you haven't lived in the great state of Texas.
No.
But listen, I'm going to tell you, and for all the people listening out there, Juan, you're one of them, listening right now. You can tell her the next time you talk to her. Texans only do things one way.
Big.
That's it. That's it. Like, have you not seen the gender reveal parties that set the world on fire? Have you not seen the amount of explosives, planes that wings fall off?
Oh,
people die.
God.
Like,
yeah, okay.
Texans
Touché.
go
All
big.
Right. Okay.
If you're floating down the Brazos River, beer math is 17 beers an hour. So you need 4 cases of beer to float for 3 hours. I'm not kidding you. That's Texas math.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you go big in Texas.
That is big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fireworks, go big. Like.
And so you said that it rained so quickly that they couldn't even.
They didn't even get a rain gauge out.
So they planned to put all these things in balloons and kites and blow up prairie dog holes, but they forgot to put up rain gauges.
I think the most important part of this is that none of the people there thought this was actually going to work, as evidenced by them not putting the rain gauge out. They spent all the energy chucking dynamite down badger holes.
Oh my heavens!
They were like, "Oh, we're gonna make a big old hole in the world right now." And that's what we're doing. It's gonna rain too? Sure, buddy.
Wait. Okay, so that would explain why when there's a big fireworks display, like on 4th of July or whatever, why clouds end up happening.
So actually, that's saltpeter that causes that. Yeah, it's the part.
It's not the fireworks?
There's saltpeter in the fireworks, in the gunpowder that makes. And that we know this now. They didn't know that then, that burning saltpeter in the upper atmosphere actually can cause it to rain. But there has to be enough ambient moisture in the atmosphere for that to happen. See, saltpeter causes the water to collect and then fall. See.
Interesting.
Okay, so really quick, imagine that above us right now, there is a layer of our atmosphere that is just like misty water, like tiny little particulate water, and this is bouncing off of each other. But what makes it rain is the hot air coming from the ground, which rises.
Induction.
Right. Pushes those rain droplets together, and that causes them to collect. You can see it physically when you look at an anvil head, like the thunderstorms, the flat bottoms that go all the way up to the sky. Literally what they're disturbing that moisture layer, and they're causing that moisture layer to collect and then to fall.
Gotcha.
Just like the condensation on a cold beer on a hot day.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Now,
thank you for that. That I can see that in my head so much easier now.
Now, what saltpeter does is when you burn it, and also what dry ice does, releasing the carbon dioxide into the clouds, it actually condenses that moisture layer and causes it to fall. That's how cloud seeding works.
Gotcha.
That's why fireworks bring rain specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And if we go into this later in the script, I'm sorry to all the people at home. At some point in history, we later found that you could actually seed the clouds with dry ice and special chemicals. Hey, I just said that.
Ta-da-da!
To make it rain. But aside from Dubai, Not many people actually do it. Dubai does it all the time.
Aside from Dubai.
But aside from Dubai, not many people actually do it.
Okay.
Not only does it not always work, but the conditions for it to work have to be almost perfect. So perfect, in fact, that some would argue that it was probably going to rain anyway.
Like you were saying, it has to have moisture in the air in order for it to... Okay.
For you to be able to coax it. Now, this is sound science. It actually does work. Cloud seeding is a real thing. And I don't want people at home to think that cloud seeding and chemtrails are the same thing.
No, two totally different things.
Two totally different things. Number one, they let you know when they're cloud seeding. Like,
yeah.
We've seen it. We've seen it a few times in the places we've lived where they've decided to cloud seed. It's a big news story. Anyway. Yet, like I'm trying to say, the science is sound and has been proven on multiple occasions for a long time now.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that it's possible. Just like back to when we talked about remote viewing in the Red October, guess what? This one seems to also be real.
Nice.
Since the 1940s, the U.S. government has been trying to develop a weather weapon.
Okay.
The most famous of these was the architect of the St. Louis Arch, Eero Saarinen, who was enlisted into the then OSS and now CIA, and the whole point of his enlistment was for him to attempt to create a weather weapon.
So the dude that created the St. Louis Arch.
That's right.
That is a hell of a lot of things to do in one life.
Yeah.
He was an architect that created this massive thing that's still up today.
Don't forget occultist.
He was in the OSS, which is now the CIA.
Don't forget that the whole reason for the arch was to open a gateway between worlds. So,
I am today years old. Excuse me, what?
did you not know that?
No!
That's why it has a resonant frequency. That like he planned for it to be like a gateway. That's why it's called the Gateway Arch. Right?
Oh, that hurts my head.
Like he tried to do like yet again. I hate to keep on referencing Cobra Commander, but like that's some Serpentor shit. Like he was trying to open a portal. But yeah, that guy also.
But it's art. Okay, cool.
And the whole point of which was to counteract the weather weapon we thought the Russians were making at the time. Anyways.
Okay.
Long story short, they shot all kinds of shit at the atmosphere to try to get it to rain. Or, fingers crossed, a hurricane capable of wiping out an entire city.
Okay, that's... I don't even have words. That's knocked me so stupid. That is not smart.
When I first heard of these weapons, I immediately thought of Cobra Commander.
Like you said, yeah.
Because he was always trying to build or set off a weather weapon. But that's actually a thing we tried to do. They shot microwaves and all kinds of radiation at the sky, used different kinds of smoke and chemicals, and in the end, they were not successful.
And of course, they probably did it over populations.
I mean, I assume.
Yeah, of course.
The only thing they were successful at was finding that if you shoot radar waves above the clouds, that it will keep bouncing off the top of the clouds before it comes back.
Well, that's helpful?
Which can seriously expand the reach of radar.
Sure.
Which we probably would have found out in a different way, but that's how we know about it.
Okay.
So, Before...
Oh my god. Okay, continue.
But before all of that happened, a man named Charles Hatfield became the most famous and arguably the most effective rainmaker in history.
All right.
So much so, in fact, that a bunch of people died because of it.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
San Diego isn't and hasn't ever been known as a rainy place.
No.
But at times, even that rain fails to fall.
Okay.
When it goes through a drought, they can be pretty extreme. In 1915, the drought was past the point of being extreme.
Okay.
The fields were dry, the animals were thirsty. So when Hatfield came back from a failed rainmaking trip to Alaska, they figured now was the time to ask the legendary cloud milker if he could help.
Wait, is it... So he failed, but hey, let's ask. Okay.
I'll get to why.
Okay.
After all, he had just recently claimed that he could bring 18 inches of rain to L.A., and he did it.
Sounds like a real fish story.
Well, he did it multiple times.
Wow.
Yeah, to be honest, it looks like this guy either knew his shit or he knew weather patterns better than anyone else.
Okay.
This man took his craft seriously, insisting on being called the Moisture Accelerator.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Hell yeah.
Okay. That's some big D energy, sir.
Right? Well, the Moisture Accelerator was born in Kansas, the same state where it is illegal to hunt whales.
That landlocked state.
Landlocked state.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
His family moved to Southern California when he was very young.
Okay.
Aside from being able to coax rain from the skies, he was also a sewing machine repairman and salesman, which from all who were asked, he was very good at selling and maintaining sewing machines.
I mean...
Friend of the pod and co-host, Lyndsay Burnett here, she has a lot of experience with sewing machines as well.
I do.
But not these kind of sewing machines. Like, her sewing machines, like, no kung fu. Like, I watched her, like, train her Husqvarna Viking, like, how to work a different pattern, like it was the Matrix. Like, you know how...
It's an embroidery machine. The AI...
Yeah.
You're not AI, but the machine does it for you.
Yeah, but I watched her program it to learn how to fly a helicopter. So, like, in a second.
It's a really in-depth program.
She also has made me a t-shirt, but she's going to make me Star Wars cloaks pretty soon, capes.
Pretty soon, yeah. I gotta take it to the sewing machine repairman.
Yeah, you got to take it to old Hatfield.
Keep him away from the McCoys.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, just in general.
In general.
During this time, that feud was still going on. But these were Kansas Hatfields, so probably not.
Probably not. It's just the name.
Yeah.
Anyways.
My point is she's going to be making Lando Calrissian-esque Calrissians.
I'm going to be trying. Yeah.
Like capes, mini capes, because she talked about it and she's like super excited about it. Yep. There are 3 kinds of rainmakers that we know about who rose to prominence around this time.
3 kind?
Mm-hmm, 3 kinds.
Okay.
First are the concussion users who like to do shit like shoot cannons at the clouds in hopes of shaking the water loose. Or to scare the piss out of Uranus.
Like I said, that's not rain.
That's not rain, that's pee. Uranus. The second was chemical or smell bringers.
Smell bringers.
Which is mostly what we'll be talking about today.
Okay.
The third is ceremonial, which is your basic rain dance or sacrifice or whatever.
Okay, all right.
And also a secret fourth, which is setting stuff on fire.
Secret fourth?
Yeah, a secret fourth way, which is setting stuff on fire to bring rain. Which they very much believed in, but luckily someone talked them off the ledge.
Thank heavens. We
both
have lived in very high fire areas where big old wildfires make rain show up way too late.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Setting the trees on fire in hopes that it'll rain is a lot like setting your washer on fire to try to dry your clothes. It might work, but at what cost?
Good point.
But during the Dust Bowl, they didn't push any idea off the table. They considered doing anything to get that to stop being a thing.
Of course.
Anyways.
Because damn logic.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, back to Charlie. Charlie was a chemical rainmaker or smell bringer.
Wait a minute. The moisture accelerator was also a smell bringer? Mm-hmm. Come on.
Because the chemicals that he used were said to be so smelly that it, quote, smelled like a Limburger cheese plant broke open.
Disgusting?
Yeah. Hatfield said when talking to the media that the chemicals were so mild that the average person wouldn't be able to smell it. And the population determined that that was a lie.
Right, this was Industrial Revolution
You're
time.
not even going to step on the Maury? That's fine.
Wow.
Nah, that's fine. For the people that know the area, he was over by Lake Morena, and they smelled his chemicals as far away as El Cajon.
Is that a long way?
Yeah, that's like 60 miles away.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
A mild chemical. My butt.
Much like Dr. Pepper, he used a secret blend of 23 possibly toxic chemicals to get the job done.
Oh my gosh.
And also much like Dr. Pepper, he would kill to keep it a secret. Spoiler alert, the secret I assume in both cases is prune juice.
It would make sense. Yes, absolutely.
So, the German language is beautiful, by the way. The San Diego City Council had old Charlie in front of them, and he made a shocking wager with them. He said that he would fill the Lake Morena Reservoir, which was down to a third of its normal capacity.
Okay.
And if he did, they would have to pay him $10,000. Which, to me, gives heavy Pied Piper energy, and even more so later.
Wait. Oh, okay. No, I don't want to hear this. Do I want to hear this? Okay, go ahead.
So they gave a verbal agreement thinking they would never have to pay him for his services.
Okay.
Even if he was successful. Charlie went right to work. He built his 20-foot towers that he used for his chemical cloud impregnation process. After 30 days of this, rain started to fall. And then it kept falling.
Oh, okay.
But Charles wasn't happy because the rain that had begun to fall had flooded out a great deal of the bridges in San Diego, but failed to raise the level in the Moreno Reservoir. So he went back to work. So after San Diego's already been like flooded out.
He's like, it's not enough. I said I needed this much water.
Right. So he went back to work. He needs his 10 grand. So he went right back to work, redoubling his efforts. People started to show up at his towers and would threaten him and tried to get him to stop doing what he was doing. He and his little brother had a veritable arsenal of shotguns, pistols, and knives to hold unruly crowds at bay.
Are you serious?
Yes.
There needs to be a movie about this.
This needs to be a movie.
What the heck?
Also to keep the curious at a comfortable distance. And he wasn't above shooting a warning shot or two if someone got too close. Aside from the vocal resistance of the people showing up to tell him to stop, he kept making it rain.
Lunacy.
Soon, both the Lake Morena Reservoir and the lower Otay Dam were full to capacity.
Okay. Did he stop then?
And that's when all heck broke loose.
Oh, of course it did.
I like the use of the word heck there.
Yes.
The lower Otay Dam collapsed, sending a wall of water towards everything that was below it.
Oh, my God.
The devastation was beyond comprehension. Farms, houses, bridges, railroads, anything in the path of this rushing water was caught up and pushed towards the open ocean.
Oh, dang.
An estimated 50 people died in the deluge.
Catastrophic.
And uncountable farm animals and local wildlife were also killed.
Damn.
It also leveled almost everything it came in contact with. Some of the railroads that were washed away were never rebuilt.
Oh, wow.
Families that had called the area home for centuries moved out.
Makes sense.
To say that this was a world-changing flood is apt, I think, because you can still see some of the eroded damage they caused to this day.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Charles and his little brother had to run away from an angry mob, and the locals thought that they had seen the last of him. Only for him to pop back up at a press conference in San Diego that he had called.
What? Just hello?
The balls on this man.
Yeah, like I said.
You see, he wanted to be paid for all the work he had done. There was still the issue of that $10,000.
Oh, sir, you owe me money?
Which is $327,000 today.
$327,000?
$100,000.
That's a lot different than 10 grand. Yeah, I could see why it would show back up.
Before the land had even dried out, the local residents began suing the city for the damages that the storm had caused.
Here we go.
And they had good reason to do so.
I mean...
Pluvioculture had been... That's what rainmakers were called back then.
Pluvioculture?
Pluvioculture.
That's a nice name.
Yeah.
Way too nice for what the devastation brings.
Pluvioculture had been sued in the past for damages caused by rainmakers, including the moisture accelerator himself in the past.
Okay.
So the council freaked out and was like, listen, you can have this money if you agree that all of the damage the storm caused is your fault.
Oh, hell no.
To which I assume his very smart lawyer decided that it wouldn't be a good idea.
Oh, so he didn't take it. Okay.
So, because the estimates of the damages had gone into the millions at that point, even back then.
Oh. This was 1915, you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which would have eaten that 10 grand like a 6-year-old at a county fair eating cotton candy.
No. Like that you've seen that video with the raccoon with the cotton candy dipping it in the water.
Yeah,
and it just gone.
Sucks it up like that fast.
Gone.
Chuck later came back and tried to sue the city for $4,000. Again, he lost.
I love how you just keep changing his name.
Oh, yeah. Well, Charles is such a malleable name. Like, you could go Chuck, Chucky, Charles, Sea Dog. Like, yeah.
There's a bit there, yeah.
You can go all the way. I'm just saying, Chuck.
Anyways.
Chuck came back later and tried to sue the city for $4,000. Again, he lost.
For $4,000.
But he got them to admit that he had a part in the storm, which was really all he wanted to get credit for making the storm.
So he's like, okay, so I'm going to sue you for less than half. Uh-huh. Okay, fine. Just at least say I did this.
Yeah, look, I'll walk away from this with no money if you just give me credit for doing the storm. Because
yet again, the balls. With all of those people trying to sue. Oh, but they were suing the city.
Right.
So, of course, he's like, yeah, no. Mm-mm.
You want to talk about publicity.
Dang.
Now, you would think that old Chucky here would, be done. He's out of work. No. He worked for decades after this.
Are you serious?
Because he flooded the driest city in the country at the time. He flooded it. If you needed an infomercial for your rainmaking services for your pluvioculture,
Yeah. Look no further.
Look no further.
Step right up.
Like, he was like, yeah, I'm getting out of San Diego. I've got all this stuff back east. Like, he worked in Canada. Like, Australia wanted him so bad, but he was like, I don't like traveling, so I'm not.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Like, he was like, I don't want to get that far away from home.
Oh, wow.
So after all of that, he went on for like decades, and then he just went back to selling sewing machines during.
So he just decided to give it all up.
Well, that also coincided with the Dust Bowl, which we will cover.
Oh.
Rainmakers continued to be popular for another few years, but the Dust Bowl proved once and for all that they actually didn't have any control over the weather, especially when it came to making it rain.
Makes sense.
But also during this time is when we actually discovered how to make it rain.
Oh?
This is when science behind the cloud seeding and actual weather manipulation really started to take off. Just for a mark on the timeline, this was all right before World War II really got going.
So just right around the time that we got airplanes into the sky, basically.
That's right.
Okay.
That's basically when we figured out cloud seeding.
Well, I mean, you got to get up there to see what it is, I guess. Mm-hmm. Right?
During World War II, every single side in the conflict had a weather control program that they had been working on.
Okay.
Every single side tried to be Cobra Commander at one time or another, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, think outside of the box, people.
Right. After World War II, everyone kept trying to make a weather machine, and we never really gave up on the idea.
Just keep giving money to it. Mm-hmm. Okay.
In Vietnam, before they tried Agent Orange, they talked about cloud seeding the whole area to flood out the tunnels that the NVA used.
Oh.
It would not surprise me if one of those projects gets declassified pretty soon, and we will be shocked not at all.
Yeah, no, not a bit.
I'm not sure if they ever tried, but they talked about it a lot.
So then you know they tried.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tried.
They tried. In the first Gulf War, they tried to come up with one of those microwave guns from Batman Begins to evaporate the enemy's water source.
Are you serious?
That's a real thing, by the way, and how they got the idea for the device in the movie, I assume.
Of course.
As far as I know, they never got it to work safely, so that's great.
Oh, yay!
Yeah, it kept on killing everybody around it.
Oh, not yay. What the hell?
It's so directing radiation is not as easy as everybody thinks. Like,
sounds deadly.
And yeah, dissipation and all that, like testing the levels, they never got it to work. Well, they didn't kill people around it. The tests kept on saying it was unsafe for people to go inside of the test chamber where they had to set the thing off.
Oh.
Yeah, this is why we know about it today, because it's one of those failed patents. It was like, didn't really get it to work.
And here's why. Yeah.
If I had to guess, I would say that every country still has a weather manipulation program somewhere, hidden in the middle of bureaucracy.
Makes sense.
There is a conspiracy theory that says Katrina was caused by one such program.
Are you serious?
I don't believe this. Actually, instead, it makes way more sense that the storms got worse after that point because of climate change and not some doomsday storm ray gun.
Yeah.
Hot water makes bigger storms.
And in that area is where big storms are.
And we've known this forever.
Yeah.
So just one more note about weather control. Most recently, one of our dumbest presidents pitched the idea of nuking hurricanes like LV-426.
The same one that looked at the sun without glasses. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the idea is still alive and well, and just as fucking stupid as it has been in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we are now.
Oh, yay!
I mean, on a lighter note, at least they haven't tried to nuke a storm yet. Like, at least somebody's still able to talk people off the ledge. You know.
I got it, yeah.
But sooner or later, somebody's going to do it.
My brain's still back on that Hatfield dude. Like, I feel like he was a German immigrant who, I don't know, his grandma read him, no?
You read him what? Like Hansel and Gretel?
Like, no, the Grimm Brothers fairy tales.
The German version of the Pied Piper.
That's what I mean,
where he drowned the kids the same place he drowned the rats.
Right, exactly. Like... Because isn't that, like, around the same time? No, that's older than that.
It's way older than that.
Yeah, there's no fun lullabies there. It's terrifying. And I know that there's something in there with Hatfield. I just can't put my finger on it.
Well, yeah, I would say that he read the Pied Piper story, the original German version, but he read it as like a blueprint. He's like, so this is where we're going to start. But instead of rats, hear me out. Hailstones. Yeah, you want the hailstones to stop? Give me 10 grand. Yeah. Like, How did this guy not become like the world's first supervillain?
Call me the Accelerator.
Oh my god, do you remember Aqua Teen Hunger Force? When Master Shake decided to become the Drizzle? It's basically just that.
Yeah.
Like, then Meatwad wanted to be Mr. Mister.
Yep.
Squirt bottles. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Basically that.
Mr. Squared.
But not as funny.
Not as funny. He might have been, actually, hold on. Dr. Evil, right?
Yeah.
All like Spectre, all of that. They almost always hold people like hostage by saying $1 million, right? Mm-hmm. He did it with $327,000 of our today money. But yeah, he basically was like, yeah, I'll fill this up and you give me the money. Like, how is that not extortion?
I would have to say it is.
You've got a business in a real dangerous neighborhood. You see that looking around, right? So maybe you need a little protection. You know, maybe maybe you don't want all your fucking windows to get broken in. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe you pay a guy that maybe makes sure that those windows don't get broken. You see what I'm saying?
Don't want everybody dying of hunger.
It's a nice desert you got there. Be a shame if somebody were to flood it. Yeah. How you guys sitting for flood insurance? Listen, you give me $10,000, I'll put this water just over here. How is that not extortion? He's a super villain.
Right.
He's probably the first weather situated super villain. Like if Aurora Monroe had a mean streak, you know, and also hardly no powers.
The more of these Gilded Age fucks that we look into, the more it's like, This is who Stan Lee based most of his Marvel bad villains off of. This thought process right here. Mm-hmm. Like, what the hell, you guys?
Well, I like to think that also with the sheer amount of mercury and other sulfides that he was throwing up in the atmosphere, that it wasn't just the rain.
Right. All the other chemicals that we're only now finding out about just ruin the earth or whatever. Side
and
effects.
Just pumping them up into San Diego, just getting it in there. Oh, man.
Joy of all joys. You picked a good one.
Thank you. Well, sometimes in life you just need to take a step back and take a look around, and buy the products and services that keep all of this afloat. Or you could go live in the woods, which is fine, but you're going to need a good quality axe if you're planning to live off the grid. Fingers crossed that at least one of these is hawking high-quality, affordable axes for purchase.
Here's hoping.
And we're back. Hopefully you've found a worthy axe to take with you into the backcountry and hide from the horrors of late-stage capitalism.
Choose the bear.
If not, we hope that you all found an acceptable meal delivery service. That was really good. Speaking of delivery, together, we have accepted the job of going over today's information. Mm-hmm. We went to the counter together and made sure it was right. We made sure to cover people shooting cannons at the sky. We checked to make sure that the straws were in the bag. Mm-hmm. And then we set out together. After managing to negotiate the front gate, we're now ready to set down the bag and take the picture.
Yes.
And now that you have eaten and you are satisfied, you just now noticed a little tiny dinner mint in the bottom of the bag. That dinner mint is the karmic suggestion box, which is where you now find yourself, and also us. We're also here.
We're all here.
Yeah, we're here.
Yay!
We've all arrived to the karmic suggestion box.
Wah, wah, wah.
The karmic suggestion box is where we like to ask karma to fill in the gaps, like that putty they show you at 3 a.m.
That one.
Yeah. Fill in those gaps of injustice and try to make it right in fun and hopefully whimsical ways.
We try.
And then we flip around real quick. Sometimes with a Sean Connery voice, where we pull a crazy Ivan and do a full 180 as we ask karma to do something good for someone who is doing something good.
That's going to be a thing, isn't it?
I'm trying so hard.
Yeah, okay.
Make the fetch happen, Gretchen. This week, for my karmic suggestion, I'm going to be asking karma to reach out and touch those that take advantage of people caught in the path of devastating storms.
Okay.
I'm talking about the people that sell water, food, and batteries at outrageous prices.
Oh, yeah, those guys.
When a storm is inbound.
Oh, yeah, those guys.
I've been in the path of a few hurricanes and actually got assaulted by a tornado one time.
What?
Yeah, I told you that story. We were in Granbury, Texas, by Lake Granbury.
Oh, that's right. Just assaulted. That's just the way you said it.
A
I'm like, excuse me?
softball-sized chunk of hail hit my truck and then flew and hit me in the bicep.
Ow.
Oh yeah, it hurt. So when I said, assaulted by a tornado, I mean it.
Ow.
I've seen people buy up all the plywood and try to sell it to their neighbors at 5 times the original price, if not more, for boarding up windows and whatnot.
Yeah.
Those people specifically should lose the ability to taste salt.
You know what? Yes.
Like, they can still get all the salt they need for them to be, like, their body's healthy or whatever.
I mean, that's fair.
But they just can't taste it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, their salty taste just gets, that taste bud goes away.
Just goes away. So you can never satisfy, like, do I want popcorn? Pringles? No, never again.
Nope, can't taste it.
Ever.
I like that one.
Thank you.
Yeah. And this week's karma request has been difficult. Mm-hmm. Because so many people, like you mentioned, got hurt by the attempts to make it rain. The devastation of being the person who could read patterns and being blamed for nature seems like karma took care of things in real time.
Yeah, it did its own thing.
But for my karmic suggestion, may karma give those with greedy intent, like the dude that bought all the hand sanitizers during the height of COVID.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, and then couldn't sell his 17,000 hoarded products.
Yeah.
You remember that guy, yeah?
Yeah, I remember him.
Well, may karma give them a modified Midas touch.
You took that from my book.
I did.
Awesome.
It was brilliant. I mean, instead of turning things to gold, though, everything they touch turns into a stinking pile of garbage.
Oh, so the Elon Musk disease.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
That one. Devalue immediately. The moment you touch anything. Devalued.
Awesome.
Devalue.
That is a good one. Modified Midas.
Thank you.
In my third book, the Book of Mao, which is cat in ancient Egyptian, they actually go over why Midas had the touch is because he got hold of cat technology.
Spoiler alert, he hasn't dropped this book yet, but yes.
The modified Midas is what they call the situation when a human gets a hold of like space animal technology. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway.
Just a shameless pluggable.
For my good karma, I'm going to ask that... Oh, wait. Crazy Ivan! We had to say it. Give me one ping, Vashele. See there, we get the Sean Connery voice. Everything's been satisfied. Okay.
We Connery do it now.
We Connery. For my good karma, I'm going to ask that karma reaches out to friend of the pod and owner of the only lightsaber store in all of Las Vegas, Juan Gomez.
That's right. The one, the only, the one.
That's right. That you got it. You nailed it. Juan Gomez is the owner of said legendary saber shop, Saber Vibes. This week, we had May the 4th, which is our anniversary.
Yes.
Well, anyways, the day before I went to go have Juan chop about a foot off of my double-bladed lightsaber. Mm-hmm. Now I can twirl it in the house with little to no caution.
Thank heavens.
Yes. I can't talk enough about my new saber, which is actually 2 sabers. The man who sold it to me. I mean...
He's a great guy.
Yeah, so instead, I'm going to ask that karma reaches out and gives you the Jedi mind trick ability.
Okay.
But not just for the weak-minded, for just about everyone else, too.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, that way you can reach out and use it on your suppliers, your delivery companies, or whoever he needs to. Also, if you could give him the ability to also use the force float to force float stuff around.
Oh.
Yeah, but only on days that end in Y and leap years.
Make it so.
Make it so.
These are the sabers you're looking for.
These are the sabers everyone's looking for.
That's awesome.
And if you're out there and you all of a sudden need to go buy a lightsaber, just hey, Saber Vibes. He's
Las
on
Vegas.
He's on TikTok. Send him a message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For my good karma, I'd like to ask that anyone who volunteers to work with animals should be given one wish of their choosing.
Nice.
But not like the traditional genie wish where things get all messed up.
Oh, like the Wishmaster?
Right, where you have to be all like precise about exactly what you say. No, not like that. No.
Who the hell wants a 10-inch pianist?
Exactly. What are you going to do with that? So, the good ones.
Play Tiny Dancer on a tiny piano? It's fine.
Whatever the opposite of that is.
Right.
So let it be.
So let it be. Only good wishes. Like... And none of this wishing for more wishes thing either. Like, just to get one wish.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go all Robin Williams in Aladdin.
Poof, what do you need? Poof, what do you need? Poof, what do you need? Oh, man. So that was a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big ride. So weather manipulation is real?
I still can't get over the fucking smell accelerator or whatever.
No, the smell bringers.
The moisture accelerator, smell bringer. Just, oh
my God. If I was like a 20-something like pickup artist with a top hat, I would definitely call myself a moisture accelerator. You know the guy I'm talking about.
That was different times, yes.
I wouldn't be that guy. I'm saying if I was that guy, I would have taken that moniker.
I would have been that guy.
And made it my own.
But I'm not that guy.
I am not that guy. I'm the guy that makes fun of that guy.
Quietly from your living room.
What do you mean quietly? I don't want to go ahead and because I was talking about doing a history of bouncers, and there's really no history. It's just big, tough guys usually hang out in bars. But
oh, that's sad.
Yeah, and they usually pay them if they sit around long enough. Like, okay.
So like mercenaries.
Kind of, yeah. So I don't know if everyone at home knows this, but I actually have a Dalton-esque Roadhouse backstory
yeah.
where there was a struggling North Texas honky-tonk Roadhouse bar that was looking for just the right bouncer. And then they went to great lengths to hire me from another bar so that I'd go work there. And then I quickly became the head bouncer where I cleaned up the whole place, but without roundhouses.
Without roundhouses, yeah.
Also, I was called the scary bouncer because I was polite. Which, I mean, if you say, ma'am, stop doing lines of cocaine off the toilet. What do you can't just be like, I don't know.
That's apparently scary. What are you supposed to do? Pull her out by her drawers?
That's what everybody else did.
Okay.
I was just like, ma'am, can we stop doing cocaine off the toilet seat?
We live in backward worlds. This is just crazy.
Anyway.
I
was going to do a whole podcast about the history of bouncers, but that's it. We just covered it.
There's no history.
There really isn't a history.
Well, thanks for joining us,
Thanks for joining us. Do we do an ad break there? So the gladiators are flickering, so I guess we need to...
Yeah.
Oh, the leaf blower got you? The gladiators are flickering. That would be a good ad pivot, you know. We'd like to give a shout out to the leaf blower right outside the apartment, doing a good job.
He's in the low-key melody.
He is thorough. Let me just tell you how thorough this man is. That thorough. I don't know if you can hear it, but that is also signaling the end of our podcasting.
It is.
My wife, you can't see her. She's giving me this eye that's like, could you stop talking right now? So I'm going to. And taking the advice of counsel, I'm going to do that now. But before I do, we'd like to always, leave you with good vibes.
Yes.
Solid gold, platinum vibes.
Positive.
Also, I'd like to remind you to keep your head on a swivel. Shut the fuck up if you get arrested. They are not your friends. Lawyer is the only word you know how to say. Or phone call, depending on where you are. That being said, stay safe out there, guys. And always, stay elusive. The Elusive History Podcast was written by Lyndsay Burnett and Levi Van Scoik. Music by Levi Van Scoik. Editing by Lyndsay Burnett.